All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm not the biggest fan of covering stocks back to back, but it's a little hard to ignore these ones, right? So I'm going to cover PEGY one more time, I'm going to cover BNED one more time, and I'm going to cover GME one more time. So this is also a good thing to kind of I never say go back and watch my old videos, right? I'm not here trying to like push my old stuff, but a good thing to do is actually watch the video before and then the next one after, which is yesterday and today, to see like the evolution of my thoughts as the technicals move, right? Just quick FYI right there. But some real interesting things happening here, and to me, it is actually all about this candle right here. And I talked about it on the Discord. You can see it was early in the day, right? It's 1 o'clock my time now. This was even before 11 o'clock. But I think we are looking at a potential shooting star. Look, you know I am not a candle person. Oh man, we're dropping a bit after hours. My like last comment down here, where was it? PEGY has a real shot at 21 tomorrow, and I think a lot of it is because of this candle. All right, so that's kind of my little immediate thoughts right there. Coming to BNED, I mean, BNED did a real good job of holding that 8 moving average, right? That's a big thing I'm going to talk about, and in a lot of ways, that's what's actually that's what initially got me excited about PEGY. PEGY went up, I missed that first up, but yeah, it came back, held the line, and clearly did some good things, right? So that's kind of the hope on BNED, for lack of words, right? And then rounding it out is Game. Talk about a doji. Talk about running to the lines. And I mean, my goodness, right? I mean, I think it really is doji for lack of words, right? And I think that on its own is a pretty interesting next day, right? But excited to talk about these, you can clearly tell. But before we go any further, excuse me, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much, but for real, just being here and giving me your time, I am so grateful for it all. Crazy fact, my 2-year anniversary is in about 2 weeks. It was June of 2 years ago when I started this thing. It's crazy where we're at right now, all right? So let's get into PEGY, all right? And clearly, this is something I thought was going to happen yesterday, right? I drew this line on yesterday's video. If you go back, you'll see what made me draw this one. And the one thing I talked about was, man, if this line breaks, there's a real good chance we're going to run to the 200 moving average. And it was close. I think that's a real easy thing to say, but it was interesting to see where this thing stopped. I'm gonna delete this line. This is not a line I'm gonna keep, but I'm a little surprised we didn't come into any of these candles. I'm surprised we didn't get stopped by a moving average. As I zoom out, you can see there's nothing there on the weekly. There was nothing there on the daily, nothing on the weekly. It was an interesting place for the wick. I'll be real honest with you. I was unable to, I didn't bank right there. I thought we were going to go more. I didn't have my sell limit there, and yeah, it's okay. It happens, right? What comes tomorrow is a lot of, how do I say this? My next thoughts aren't really my forte, all right? I'm about to talk a lot more about candles themselves, and it really has to do with what I talked about in the beginning, shooting star. Boom. Okay, so I did a quick Google search, and I know I've seen this before. I'm going to take you back to where I remember it, but I remember, and let me just show you where. The answer was NVOS. It was the NVOS, that candle right there. And it also kind of, you could say, happened there, but I remember that candle right there. I really do, okay? And what I remember was from that candle, we basically end up falling, and you can literally see it. We end up falling to the next moving averages down, all right? My concern with PEGY is kind of the same thing. Look, we're in no man's land right now, no woman's land for my girls out there, right? The next moving average up is all the way up here. The next moving average down, I'm guessing that the 8 moving average is probably going to open around 20, maybe 21 cents tomorrow. That's what drove a lot of, oops, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. That's what's driving a lot of my PEGY at 21 worries, right? So I'm assuming, because look, I see it, right? There is a golden cross. The 8 went above the 100. That's a good thing. Golden cross is way better than a death cross, right? So it looks like the 8's going to still go up. Clearly, I'm seeing the 20 go up and the 50 go up. Those are all really good things, right? This candle has me concerned. It really does. And hey, I always talk about the green filled in ones as not that good, because look, this thing actually opens at 29 cents. Sorry, it took me a second to see that. And then actually falls down to 26 cents. More people probably lost 10%. Oh, my kitty's at the door. What are you doing? I'm recording. Come on in. I'm sorry. I gotta give you a floppy door, I think. So to me, I actually see more people losing 3 cents, which is about 10% of that 29 open, and coming down. And hey, hopefully people didn't get caught above it and earlier, right? Because again, that's the pros and cons with that gap fill, right? When the gap fill goes, it's like the minimum expectation in my eyes was actually 45 cents. If you want to know the truth, I was trying to sell a little bit at 47. It didn't hit. It happens. I'm moving on, and it's okay, right? But I'm surprised we didn't even get to 45, and you can see in the box over there, that's the low of this February 2nd candle before the gap down. That is the lowest point in this, and we didn't actually even get stopped by a red candle. It's, like I said, just a little bit of a weird place, and it's making, I got rid of it. Did I get rid of it? It's just really making me think shooting star, and clearly the way it looks is this thing, right? So I don't know if it's more about the hanging man than the shooting star. Let me go back to that NVOS. I mean, the NVOS gapped down, right? So I don't even think it matters. And I think there might have been another one that did it. I don't know if I'm thinking of that or not. I don't know. I don't want to force it, but yeah, I don't know. You know, like I said, I'm definitely a line person, and the best thoughts I can give are basically what I said on the Discord. I think either we're coming down to 21 cents, all right? You're losing 5 cents, you're losing about 20% if you come down there, all right? Or I think we're going to go up to 34 cents. I think that there's a decent chance, sorry, and I think I mentioned it here, I even think that there's a decent chance that 31 might be a little tough. I don't know if I mentioned it here or not. Either way, I'm mentioning it on this video right now. Oh, there it is. It might struggle with 31 cents because actually 31 cents is where it seemed like it was going to break. And I think if I go into the 15-minute, yeah, you'll see it right there. We were just living horizontally at that 31 cent line for 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's more than a 2-hour window just horizontal at 31 cents before we lost it in the last 30 minutes, right? Each candle right here represents 15 minutes, right? So, you know, it's one of those things where I'm now not sure if we can retake 31. I think if we retake 31, we'll go back to 34. 21 is my number on the low side, all right? We still have not confirmed the 100 moving average. This is still all about the 100 moving average, and I think there's still a chance that we can come as low as 18 cents if you want to know the truth, right? That's a good break. Doji doesn't count. Hey, I love the gap up, don't get me wrong, but Doji doesn't count. This is a Doji, right? So we still have not confirmed the 100. If we come to 21 and 21 doesn't hold, we might be talking about 18 cents again, all right? So 18 cents, 21 cents, 31 cents and 34 cents. That's my 2 lines up, 2 lines down. I'm not going to draw any new horizontals because they're really not, you know, important enough to draw. That's kind of the truth of it, right? So, yeah, I don't think we need to talk about the weekly too much, but even the weekly, again, you can kind of see that same shooting star, right? This is literally just the first day of trading, so, you know, don't put too much weight on one day, but it is only a 4-day trading day, right? I think the really, really cool thing is, and obviously you're going to see it, right? The daily was 650 million. The weekly today was a single day, and we've already pretty much done as much as we've done in most of the last couple weeks, right? So I'm not even worried at all about the volume at this point, right? And hey, even the crazy thing with this thing is, look at that, and more so, look at that. It is actually like, I don't know how to say, like, it's a relatively sustained volume growth, even though we're doing these like crazy exponential jumps, right? So I'm loving the volume. I talked about the accumulation on the last video. That is a beautiful divergence on the MACD. That's still a healthy RSI at only a 66. I think the green is finally peaking. Let's look at the exact numbers. Yeah, look at that. RSI, the green is at 66. The red is at 65. We do have green over red on both. Give us one more good day and they'll both do the same thing. That'll take us into those 30 numbers. Otherwise, we might be coming down, and we'll see how that factors out. And hey, look, we've seen big volume only to drop. We've seen big volume only to drop. We've seen big volume only to drop. Are we going to see big volume only to drop? Or are we going to get, we haven't really had good back-to-backs, let alone back-to-back since that first 3-day run, right? Since that first pop, that's been the only true go. Otherwise, it's kind of this like ugliness, right? I guess you can say this and this. I think I just got that wrong, so I apologize. Hey, it did just happen in the last 4 days, so hopefully we can do it in the next 2, but you get the point I was trying to make, all right? I went a little long on PEGY. I still want to cover the other ones. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into BNED, and man, this BNED, this Barnes & Noble move was literally all in a 30-minute move. This was the open, right? Today's the 28th. It was pretty much flat the entire day, and then in a 30-minute window, really most of it in a 15-minute window, it recovered so nicely, right? So real quickly, please, if you can subscribe, if you can share this video, oh, it does wonders with these algorithms. So if you watched yesterday's video, I stressed the importance of holding the 8 moving average. And by golly, oh man, I sounded like I was 75. Not that there's anything wrong with being 75, obviously, but by golly, it did that though. It did, right? I like it a lot. And I like that we didn't close just barely over it. I'm glad we got a nice little separation from that 8 moving average, right? I obviously like the fact that we tested the 100, but you know, wicks aren't that much of my, you know, my focus, right? It's all about where it opens and closes, that body of the candle, right? So what am I looking for tomorrow? I'm looking for us to take that 100 moving average. I need this to get into 75, 76 cents, all right? That's a good MACD. It's not a great MACD, don't get me wrong, but hey, look at this thing. It's not one that's been like living in the positives, right? So we're hoping that this is kind of where it starts to take off and separate, right? I think on the weekly, it was a little easier for me to see. Yeah, this thing, it's been a negative MACD pretty much since right here. No, actually, I would even call it since right here. Right there. You can see it's negative 0.09. Since December 2021, this thing has pretty much been entirely under that dashed line right there, right? So this is trying its best to get a positive MACD. Obviously, we're looking at the weekly now, but even this RSI, right? We really haven't been able to get over a 50 RSI on the weekly in a while. It looks like it's trying to do that, right? Again, you can't assume it's going to do these things, but my goodness, you get over the 8 and the 20 on the daily, it's a good thing. You get over the 8 and the 20 on the weekly, it's a good thing, right? And that's a nice little spacing right there. But look, I'm more about the daily chart, so let's talk about the daily chart. But trust me, those are really good weekly chart thoughts right there. I'm glad we held the 8 moving average, and we talked about it a lot right here. Oh man, I don't know what that says. Give me a second. We talked a lot about it right here. 8MA. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, right here. So PEGY goes to a moving average, gets rejected, comes down, gets caught by the 8 moving average, and takes off. You can see it's the same ones, same ones. BNED goes all the way to the last moving average, clearly gets rejected. It looks like the 8 moving average has caught it. We have been riding the 8 moving average up, and the goal right now is to do that right here. All right. It did the first part. It held. All right. Now turn that hold into a bounce, and that's where the money is. All right. The good thing, look, these two are the last of the moving averages. These are the hardest of the lines. Clearly, this one's even harder than that one, right? I like the fact that there's a decent amount of spacing between these. It's not a lot, but it's enough. All right. If we can get to 75, 76 cents, that would at least make me think, okay, the 100 might be taken, and maybe the next day we can go after this. I think there's enough space to break the 100, confirm the 100, and then take the 200, or maybe even just go boom and then boom, right? There's a bunch of different ways it could actually go, but I think that spacing could be advantageous, especially if the 8 moving average does the job, all right? And look, again, you can actually literally see BNED did it before. We get to a resistance, couldn't do it. 8 moving average does a job and then some, right? Couldn't do it, will it again. That's the hope, right? I'm actually liking this volume, all right? Now, all you got to do for me to be happy is to get over this 50-day average line. If you can do that, I'm calling a good volume, all right? Clearly, I don't like going from 300 million to under 30 million, right? Like, we've given up 90% of the volume. That's not a good thing, right? But hey, we're at least hitting the 50-day average. That's a good thing. It actually is. I'm glad there was more buying than selling. It obviously makes hitting that a little bit better. And I'm still seeing an accumulation here, right? Like, there has been maybe a sell-off of this entire day, right? But by no means have these candles been sold off yet. Like, these are pretty much still being held, right? So I think I've given the lines, right? We're basically looking for 75 first, maybe close to like 85 next, and then obviously big things happen if we can break that dollar, especially 116 is the money line. If this can get into 116, that could do. Is that actually the money line? Let me actually zoom out. No, that's not the money. Oh man, 104. That's where I had 116. No. I think it's a little closer. No, yeah, 116, 118. I think no difference. 116 is the money line. I'll keep that comment there. And hey, even a move from here to 116, if it happens, is a real nice move. Just keep that in your back pocket. I kind of talked about the weekly already, actually, in the beginning of the video. So I think I'm just going to keep the comments, right? It looks like this is a little bit of a horizontal around 80 something, 85 cents. Oh, there's even a bottom of this guy right here. Where are you? 82 cents. Let me draw this. I want to see where that ends up being on the daily. Is that a good line to? That's not. No. But that's give or take what my confirmation number really was, right? Like, if we can get into that 75, 76 to 81 cent realm, I'm going to start to believe we've taken over the 100 moving average and we're ready to battle the two, right? So I think in a little bit of a ways that line just reconfirmed that, but I don't really need to draw that right there. BNED, listen, you know I haven't talked about squeeze. You know I haven't talked about this or that. I'm trying to keep the realities of the moving average in my grasp, right? And that's why I even took a second to just step back and say, look, if we can get to just 118, that's beautiful. I didn't even talk about those lines up there or beyond, right? And I know there's a lot of people saying a lot bigger numbers. And I promise you, if you're focusing on 10 plus and we make this crazy run to one something, oh man, like you might miss out on a good bank because you wanted more. You know what I mean? So there really is a slow and steady, even to these crazy rockets of memes. All right, so nothing seems to be going crazy after hours. I'll at least flash it. It's going down a little bit, but I'm still seeing us over the 8. It's not really oh no, what did I just do? Nothing actually. I think I just we're all good. Sorry about that. Nothing really crazy in the post market. I'm still liking that. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. My goodness, game. All right, GameStop. This is, I think it's. How do I say this? I'm never here to like brag about my lines or like this or that, right? But it's really funny to see when the wick is almost a penny away from my line. And obviously I think it would have been a better line if I was like closer to that and blah blah blah, right? But talk about a doji, talk about uncertainty, talk about a really important day in a lot of ways as well, right? So really quickly, please, if you can subscribe, if you can share, it does wonders with these algorithms. So GameStop, if you watched yesterday's video, it was all about this 20 moving average, all right? This Thursday candle was a scary candle, all right? We clearly fell below the 8, but I always talk about the 8 and the 20 being the support together or the horrible resistance together. And if you lose one, the other should help. And then if you're trying to break it, if you can break one, the other one might not let you, right? So though we lost the 8, it was all about holding the 20. And though that was a bad candle, doji, right? Like, and that's kind of the echoing theme across this, but doji did not confirm. We actually gap on over, and lo and behold, we doji again today. And it's interesting to see it, right? Because some people thought, you know, this was good and let's run to this next resistance plus, right? Some people thought, no, we actually don't even deserve to be over one, let alone both the lines, and went under for a bit. But hey, lo and behold, we actually open above and close above that 8 moving average, right? To me, all that is still pretty 50-50 for tomorrow. And really, I see us tomorrow either coming to 28.50, 28.60, or maybe coming just below that 2060 line. I think that's my 1-2, maybe 1975. I think that would be a decent place. But yeah, I think we're either going to come just a little bit above this, just a little bit below this. That's kind of my 1-2, right? And again, I would love to trade from here to here. This is a beautiful channel that could be the doji that's setting it up for this, or we're going to be setting up the doji that takes us from here down to the last of the moving averages, all right? I keep saying it, I'm going to say it again. It should be really hard to go below 15. You have the 3 biggest and the 3 toughest moving averages to break up. All 3 of them are tight right there, and those are the 3 hardest to lose down as well. So I imagine if we get that low, we would probably bounce back up. But hey, again, like I said, it would be great to doji on up here again, or hey, even just confirm up here, even just get me a good simple midday candle and then go from there, right? But this seems like a tomorrow should tell us the truth kind of candle, especially given where it is. It's right over 2, not just 1 important line in my eyes, all right? And obviously I always say that these 5 lines are a little bit more, they're definitely better than my manual lines, right? My manuals are just here for good enough. Loving the volume. We had a much better volume day than we had on Friday. We obviously broke the 50-day volume on both. MACD staying positive. RSI is a healthy number. And it actually looks like the green is over the red, right? Yeah, the green line, the green RSI is at 55. The red RSI is at 54, right? So this thing's pretty much holding flat on the post market right there. It's still over both, and it's now a perfect doji, right? So yeah, I think this is it. Did I look at the weekly? Oh, look at that. The weekly's coming up to the last of it, right? The weekly at 25.70 is the 200 moving average. Loving the golden cross, though. I am loving that golden cross. I am. That's still a really healthy weekly, and that's a nice positive. Yeah, this could be a real nice next week if the last couple days just do the job. Honestly, even if it just holds right here, if we just kind of stay in this 23 realm until Friday's close, that could actually still set up a nice next week. All right, so Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I just want to see what PEGY's doing after hours, coming down to 23. I believe that. Okay, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Hey, thank you so much.